As artificial intelligence continues to evolve, there is a growing need to process data in a way that balances speed, scalability, and resource efficiency. Now, two main architectures dominate AI deployment today: Edge AI and Cloud AI. While both approaches offer powerful capabilities, they differ in how they handle data processing, storage, and decision making. Welcome back to another episode of Analytics Insight podcast, where we unpack the latest in technology and explore how it's transforming our world. And I'm your host, Priya Dialani. Now, over the last decade, we have seen AI's incredible capabilities transform industries from healthcare to finance, logistics to entertainment. But if we zoom in on where AI's power is actually deployed, a fascinating tug of war emerges between two paradigms: running AI in the centralized cloud or pushing it to the decentralized edge. Let's welcome Shrihari Bhat, CEO of Orient Technologies Ltd, to dive into a topic that sits at the heart of next generation computing: AI at the edge versus AI in the cloud. What's the future? Hi Shrihari, how are you doing?
Thanks, Priya. Good afternoon. Thanks for inviting me on this forum.
Great. It's a pleasure to have you with us on a podcast today, Srihari. And I believe we are probably going to discuss a very interesting topic today, something that I've never touched upon, but definitely it's going to be enlightening. But before we dive deeper into our core theme today, Srihari, we would like to know more about Orient Technologies. Let's set the foundation of today's episode by helping us understand, more about Orient Technologies Limited, its specialization.
So, Orient Technologies Limited is a full stack IT transformation partner with over 3 decades of experience in delivering outcome driven technology solutions. We specialize in IT infrastructure, cybersecurity, cloud and application services, and digital transformation for enterprises across industries. Our approach is built on promise of one unified technology experience through simplifying complex IT ecosystems into a single SLA-driven engagement, ensuring seamless delivery, accountability, and business continuity for our customers. Whether it's modernizing infrastructure, securing digital assets, enabling cloud adoption, or building future-ready applications, Orient is the trusted partner for businesses aiming to scale securely and efficiently in today's digital-first world.
Great, thank you for that overview, Srihari. And I'm impressed as to how the organization's unique expertise is shaping the landscape, especially in a space that's evolving so rapidly. It really sets the stage for understanding the depth and direction of your work as well. Now, since we have built the foundation, let's dive deeper into your role and contributions as well. And we would like to know more about you, Srihari. So, you are a visionary business leader with 30 plus years of experience in financial services, capable of driving global revenue growth, leading high performing teams, and executing transformational strategies across international markets. So, can you tell us more about yourself? How has the journey been till date of these 30 incredible years? And, what exactly is your role towards Orient Technologies?
Yes, of course, Priya. As CEO of Orient Technologies, my role is really about setting the direction and vision for where we are headed and making sure that we have the right culture, capabilities, and partnerships in place to get there. Having spent over 30 years working with global tech giants like FIS, NCR, and First Data, which is now Pfizer, and managing international markets, and really that experience has shaped how I approach leadership. At Orient, I am using those learnings to position us as a cutting edge, best in class technology service provider. So, my focus has been on three big things. First, building long term client relationships that drive recurring revenue, especially through digital transformation, total outsourcing, and cloud services. Second, fostering a culture of innovation. We are actually setting up dedicated innovation labs and industry specific centers of expertise to help our clients experiment, scale, and grow. And third, driving sustainable growth, whether through strategic acquisitions or internal transformation. But beyond all that, I really try to lead with values. Integrity, empathy, and accountability are non negotiable for me. I believe if we get the people and the culture right, everything else follows. At the end of the day, it's simple. When our clients grow, we grow. We're not just delivering technology here, right? So we are helping them scale dreams and solve real world challenges. And that's what keeps me excited every single day.
That's fantastic, Shrihari, and thank you for sharing those insights about your role and the kind of impact that you have made within the organization. And it's a powerful reminder that behind every transformative solution or an organization, there are people like you who are championing the progress and fostering a culture of excellence. So moving ahead, I think in the introduction, Shrihari, we spoke about edge AI and cloud AI, and these are the two different approaches to implementing AI developments or even machine learning models. Now, cloud AI stores and processes data on cloud platforms or servers where AI algorithms and models are executed. On the other hand, edge AI captures or receives data and runs AI algorithms on local devices like wearables or IoT devices or edge computing servers. So, how do you define the fundamental differences between AI at the edge and AI in the cloud, especially from an enterprise adoption lens?
So, when we talk about AI in cloud, we are referring to centralized, high performance computing environments, right? Where the models are trained and often deployed for inference. Cloud AI offers scalability, massive compute power, and is ideal for heavy data workloads like training large language models or analyzing data lakes, right? On the other hand, AI at the edge brings intelligence closer to the source on devices like IoT sensors, industrial machines, autonomous vehicles, or even smartphones. The edge is all about low latency, privacy, and operational efficiency. From an enterprise perspective, cloud AI is very strategic for model development and aggregated analytics, right? Whereas edge AI is very tactical, driving localized, real-time decisions, making without relying on connectivity. Think of it like this: if the cloud is the brain, then the edge is the reflex.
Great. I think I very much liked your last statement that if cloud is the brain, edge is the reflect. I think that truly defines and clarifies the distinction between the two, like the cloud AI and the edge AI. And I think the distinction that you gave it really underscores just how important it is for companies to align their AI deployment strategies, with the specific operational realities. I mean, whether they need real time insights at the edge or they want more scalable processing power in the cloud. I think that's when they can have a clear understanding and they can align their future AI deployments as well. Now, when you talk about edge AI, or even for that matter, even edge devices, I think they are the nodes on the network that perform computing at or near the physical location of a user or a data source. Now, they exist across almost every industry, whether you have the point of sale machine in your grocery store or to a robotic arm that is building your car. But organizations face a key challenge at the edge. They often track large amounts of data and have to send it back to a core cloud for processing before it returns back to the device for action. Now, this entire journey adds time and complexity to the process, definitely. So, they eventually slow down operations and results in more older or less relevant data, I would say. So, when we talk about edge computing, we always, talk about real time decisions with edge computing. So, in what kind of industries or scenario does this real time capability really move the needle?
Right. Priya, that's a great question. So let me address it this way. No, real-time AI at the edge is critical in the industries where every millisecond counts. That is where it becomes very relevant. Let's look at manufacturing, right? So in manufacturing, where the predictive maintenance, anomaly detection on the shop floor, or quality inspection using computer vision is a must. That is where it is relevant, right? Let's look at healthcare industry. In healthcare, where products like wearable devices offering instant vital analysis or diagnostic tools in remote locations with limited internet access. Let's look at autonomous systems. You spoke about vehicles. Now, vehicles or drones must make split seconds decision where latency can be matter of life and death. Okay. Whereas in retail, the smart shelves and in-store analytics benefits from localized processing for speed and customer privacy. In these scenarios, waiting to send data to the cloud for a response simply isn't viable, right? This is exactly where the real-time AI decision on the edge becomes very critical.
Definitely. And I think the examples or the real world examples in terms of healthcare that you just shared, I think it's kind of fascinating to understand how the real time capabilities of edge computing are transforming industries on the ground. And I think what stands out from what you shared is that decisions aren't just about, I think, about speed or for the sake of speed. It's about unlocking entirely new possibilities. Like you spoke about healthcare, so it's about enabling more life-saving interventions and making it more safer and more efficient. So I really kind of like that perspective and helping us understand that what is a why behind the edge and why is it so important when it comes to taking more real-time decisions. Moving ahead, I think, as people build better architectures, we also have to build better tools. Now, a lot of, if you talk about smart things or smart technologies, I think a lot of these smarts in a big architecture is the network on the chip or how things communicate. Now, we can model some of that at a low level or we can abstract it away. Now, if you talk from a software development point of view, you don't really care how data flows. You just assume that you have access to the data you need. So there are two type of problems here. One is functional accuracy, and this is what the industry has concentrated on. But the big challenge we see is performance analysis. How can you model the cost of moving data around? Now, this is a very challenging a set of tools for a lot of industries. So when we talk about data transfer, I think data transfer costs are becoming a key consideration when organizations are trying to adopt cloud-based AI. So how does edge computing solve this, and what's the trade-off here?
That's a bit complex question, but let me address that, right? So, with cloud based AI, the data transfer cost can really pile up. And you just spoke about it, between egress fees, bandwidth, and storage. Edge computing helps by handling data locally. So, you can really process and filter on the devices and only send what is relevant or essential to the cloud. So, you are not just sending the dump, you are sending only the essential data that needs to go there. So that saves a lot of money and reduces latency. Okay. Now, what's the trade off? Edge devices have limited power. So you need to optimize your models like pruning or quantization, which can affect accuracy a bit, right? It's really about finding the right balance between efficiency and performance.
Right. I think when we are talking about edge computing, I think it definitely eases data transfer costs while also empowering AI workloads closer to where the data is generated. So, of course, it's fascinating to see how we are moving from a model that once centralize everything in the cloud to a more distributed paradigm that kind of balances performance, cost, and even data sovereignty is I would say. So, I mean, let's keep the conversation going and explore how organizations can make the right architectural choices as they navigate in terms of approach. Now, we have discussed about AI, but right now, I mean, everybody's talking about is generative AI. Now, while most generative AI applications run in the cloud today, their workloads burden the cloud with added equipment and operating costs. Now, consequently, these additional AI workload burdens are causing a re-evaluation of how AI models can best be implemented because applications like ChatGPT and Midjourney, I mean, they have a more broader use. Now, one of the most promising implementation strategies to move some or all of the AI workload to edge devices, whether it's your smartphone, your laptop, or probably extended reality headsets as well, because they have significant on-device AI processing capabilities compared to the cloud. So, I mean, we are of course seeing the evolution of generative AI, and we are definitely going to see more of these evolutions coming in. What role do you see edge devices in running or supporting these Gen AI workloads, especially in resource constrained environment?
Right. So generative AI models are, typically large and compute intensive, right? So they naturally live in the cloud. But the trend is now shifting. With the model compression and quantization, smaller Gen AI models like distilled LLMs can run on edge devices. The applications include personalized assistance, on-device summarization, or context-aware interfaces in augmented reality or virtual reality. So, in resource-constrained environments where edge devices can pre-process, filter, or conceptualize prompts before sending them to the cloud, right? So basically offloading compute smartly. In short, right, the edge devices won't replace the cloud for Gen AI, but they will increasingly augment and enable its usage in real time, which is privacy sensitive or offline contexts.
Right. So, I mean, when we're talking about edge devices, and you gave that perspective of how it can support Gen AI workloads, I think when we're talking about Gen AI in the edge, it doesn't mean just faster processing. I think it's also about enabling personalization, privacy, and real-time decision making as well. So when we are talking about workloads of Gen AI data workloads in the edge, do we also really need to take care of data privacy and security as well, compared to cloud, or edge offers more security of data that way?
So, when you look at hybrid AI, it's becoming a standard now, right? So the cloud gives you massive compute power and lets you update on the monitor models easily. The edge, on the other hand, gives you real-time performance, offline resilience and better control, data control. So especially important in regulated industries. So hybrid AI really gives you best of both worlds, right? So speed, privacy, cost savings, and flexibility. So it's not just where we are headed, it's where most forward thinking companies already are.
Right, definitely that makes a lot of sense. And I think talking about hybrid AI, I think my next question was about that only. We have been talking about cloud and edge, and I think cloud's flexibility makes it indispensable for businesses that have specific use cases. But this strength can also become a limitation. I mean, running continuous inference where data is constantly sent back and forth to the cloud for processing, it can get expensive, especially for real-time applications. And we spoke about the privacy concerns of transmitting sensitive data. We have regulatory constraints and energy inefficiencies. I think it can make a cloud based AI strategy less than ideal, as in when we are progressing in a digital era. So of course you spoke about the hybrid approach, that where we are blending the strength of both edge and cloud AI. So how do you see hybrid AI training in the cloud, while the inference is at the edge, as an inevitable model for the future? Why do you think so it is? And if not, then why do you think it is not?
So, like I said, Priya, that the cloud gives you massive compute power, right? And it also lets you to update and monitor models easily. Whereas on edge, it's all about real-time performance, which is offline resilience and better control on data, which is localized. So that is where the difference between cloud and edge. Okay. Um, so if you are really looking at speedy performance, but when you look at the repository, it's all about it's on the cloud, right? So you can't have a large base of repository on the edge. And that is what the difference is. So it's a little bit of fine balance between the edge and the cloud. So one has to look at it as more about a balanced approach or a hybrid between edge and a cloud compute.
Right, definitely. I think You've really highlighted the delicate balance between leveraging the scalability of the cloud and the responsiveness of the edge. And of course, when we talk about a hybrid AI approach, I think it's isn't just about performance. I think it's about empowering more smarter, more resilient applications that can operate freely, reliably, and securely in real world environments. And I think in the future we kind of now have 5G. So as 5G networks mature, the possibility of edge cloud will definitely grow, because we have ultra fast, low latency connections, and this means that devices can communicate seamlessly with the cloud infrastructure, and they're blurring the lines between local and centralized intelligence. So this unlocks new opportunities for augmented reality, immersive experiences, and much more. So, with advancements in hardware and connectivity like 5G, and more advancements in software frameworks, how do you think, or what do you think will accelerate edge AI adoption in the next 2 to 3 years?
So, Priya, there are several enablers that are converging. Okay, let's look at it from hardware perspective, connectivity perspective, and software frameworks perspective. Okay, so let's start with hardware perspective. The purpose-built AI chips like NVIDIA Jetson or Google Coral or Apple Neural Engines, they are making the inference more efficient and power conscious. Okay, that's where the R&D is happening. If you look at from the connectivity perspective, 5G is already there. Wi-Fi 6 are really reducing the latency and improving the reliability from edge to cloud communication, and that's very, very critical. To give you an example, today there are, let's say, in healthcare, there are operations which are being performed across continents, real time. Okay. Now let's look at software framework tools like TensorFlow Lite or ONNX or Edge Impulse are really democratizing the model deployment on these constrained devices, right? To add to this push for federated learning, low code, no code AI platforms and cybersecurity at the edge, you will see edge AI moving from pilot to production at a scale in the next 2 to 3 years.
Right, I agree with you. So I think when we're talking about, I mean, what's the verdict here in terms of the entire conversation? I think the future of enterprise AI isn't a binary choice between cloud or edge. Instead, it's about designing architectures that play to the strengths of both. We are using the cloud as a training ground for powerful evolving models, and we're using edge as a frontline force for more real-time and localized intelligence. So this hybrid strategy will allow businesses to delight customers, optimize operations, and respond to world in ways that were impossible even a few years ago. So thank you so much, Srihari, for being on a podcast today. And I believe as leaders look forward and ask whether cloud or edge, but I think now they have a better idea, because I think they can orchestrate both to deliver smarter, faster, and more secure AI experiences, because at the end of the day, organizations that master this interplay will have a decisive advantage to in a digital first world. So thank you so much for your insights today. It was lovely chatting with you.
Hey, thanks, Priya. And if I have to summarize this conversation, I would say that think of it like this, right? So if the cloud is the brain, then edge is the reflex, right? And edge devices really won't replace cloud for Gen AI, but they will increasingly augment and enable, is usually in real time, privacy sensitive and offline context, right? So that's how I would summarize it, Priya. Thank you so much for your time.
Definitely. Thank you for that wrap up insight, Srihari. And I'm sure our listeners have gained more learnings and insights. And I think they have a more clear idea as to how they should proceed ahead in terms of their AI deployment. So, this is for our listeners. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and you have got a couple of learnings that you can implement in your real world life scenarios and your respective organizations. Nevertheless, stay tuned for our upcoming podcasts, and you can view all our previous podcasts on Spotify and other leading platforms. Thank you so much.